KHOU 11 News at 6 starts now.
Hi, everyone. It's great to have you with us for this digital webcast. I'm Marcelino Benito.
And I'm Cheryl Mercedes. We begin with breaking news out of Southwest Houston, where eyewitnesses say a man was shot to death in an apparent carjacking. It happened this afternoon around 12:45 outside the Lone Star Assisted Living Complex off of West Bray Parkway. A neighbor tells KHOU he heard an argument followed by a gunshot and then a vehicle left the scene. Here's what some of the people who live at that facility had to say.
Was either coming in or going out to go shopping. He had his little shopping cart, and a scuffle ensued. They say he put up a good fight, and that's when he got shot.
Right now, it's unclear whether the suspect is in custody. We are waiting to get more details from Houston police, and we'll pass those along as soon as we do.
New at 6, a woman is dead, and right now investigators are working to find out who kicked in her door and shot her.
First responders were called to that scene around 10:30 last night. Katira Winfrey has the story from Northwest Harris County.
A devastating discovery inside this home in the 14,000 block of Beechmore has forever changed a family. Harris County investigators say a woman's boyfriend found her inside with multiple gunshot wounds Friday night.
She apparently hadn't been seen in a couple of days. The boyfriend had come over to check on her. When he got here, he found the door had been kicked in.
So far, the woman hasn't been identified. Officials only say she's in her 40s.
This type of stuff doesn't happen over here in this area pretty often. So we kind of believe that this might be an isolated deal.
Knowing this level of violence could happen in such a quiet place is a shock to investigators and people who live nearby.
Makes me worried. I live in the neighborhood, and to know that, somebody's house was entered and door kicked in and somebody was shot, that's terrible.
This neighbor didn't want to show his face, but says the quiet streets, family park, and open space is what makes this area home, calling what happened unbelievable, as it's a tragic loss that even strangers can recognize.
For anybody out there, it's a loss of life, how that hits you, devastating.
Reporting in Harris County, Katira Winfrey, KHOU 11 News.
New from overnight now, a woman is dead after a shooting broke out in East Harris County. The sheriff's office says the woman's estranged husband showed up to the home on Perry Street, that's north of Baytown. We're told there was a disagreement of some type between the estranged husband and a boyfriend that was at that home. Then shots rang out, hitting and killing the woman. The boyfriend did speak with investigators, but they are now searching for the estranged husband to get a better understanding of exactly what happened here. If you have any information on this case, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers.
Right now, the search continues for a Missouri City woman whose relatives say they haven't heard from her in over a week.
The Missouri City Police Department tells us they do have one man in custody after he was reportedly caught driving her car in Pearland. Officers tell us that it's not clear if the man knew Karen or if he's a suspect. Meanwhile, her family is desperate to find her, not only to know if she's safe, but also because she needs medicine to survive. Karen's older sister tells us that she is diabetic and has high blood pressure.
If my sister doesn't take her 3 shots per day, she can possibly go into a diabetic coma, or she can pass out because she is known to have passed out before.
If you have any information on where Karen Miles might be, call police. Let's take a look at our weather now. A live look outside downtown where things are looking calm for now after a couple of showers we had this morning. Meteorologist Pat Kaplan joining us.
So Pat, how's the rest of that weekend looking?
It's actually not looking as bad as we thought it was looking yesterday. So there's the good news. Live look here over towards River Oaks. There's the America's Tower. 91 the high temperature today. So that little extra bit of sunshine that we had today actually got us pretty close to our normal of 93. Still below normal, though, technically, after waking up in the mid to upper 70s. Sunset coming up tonight at 7:44, and that'll be your last. This should be your last August sunset. Today, the 30th or 31st. We do have, again, some pretty comfortable temperatures out there right now. Mid to upper 80s. 89, though, at Bush. 83 Tomball. 81 Mont Bellevue. 83 Cleveland. 91 in Palacios. But all in all, not too bad. Couple showers dotting the radar right now to the north of the city. They're pivoting in from the northeast, going down towards the west and southwest. No thunder or lightning with these. For the coast even, things are not looking bad at the moment, and into the city we go across Harris County. We had a couple showers on the east side over the last 2 hours. Those have since fallen apart. So for the evening, hour by hour, we will drop from the low 80s into the upper 70s with partly cloudy skies, but conditions remain mainly dry, and that will be the case as we go through the rest of the overnight. For tomorrow, that low is still close enough offshore that we can see the chance for a couple of downpours and thunderstorms, but by Monday, it starts to dive south. And if that happens, I think Labor Day actually may be one of the nicer days of this weekend, although rain chances will probably stay higher out towards the coast. The Hurricane Center is still watching this area. They still have a 20% chance for maybe some very weak development over the next 7 days. Nothing really to be concerned about, but as we put it into motion here, you can see swirls to the east and then dives down towards the south and west as we get towards Monday and Tuesday, and all of the rain really stays close to the core of that system, which is why I don't think our rain chances are going to be crazy once we get beyond tomorrow. But we do have a 60% chance as it starts to drift back to the west from Louisiana during the day tomorrow. So 60% chance for downpours and storms from the city out through Sugar Land, Katy, up through Montgomery County, and then points to the east. Once you go farther north and west, the rain chances do start to drop off. So there's future track again. By tomorrow morning, couple downpours possible, especially at the coast. As we go through the day, any bit of sunshine will warm things up. That will destabilize the atmosphere. Scattered downpours and storms possible. We could see a pretty good batch of rain, especially north of the city as we get towards tomorrow evening, and then things will start to quiet down during the overnight. There's the rain at the coast for Monday. This is Monday morning. Notice some heavy downpours down through Galveston, out to the beaches. Areas to the north, though, look okay. And again, as that system pulls south, it actually looks like we may stay mainly dry as we get into Monday afternoon. So in the tropics, we're watching this blob that's just offshore. Again, very low chance that it develops into anything. We were talking the last few days, especially yesterday and this morning, about this area here in the Atlantic potentially developing once it arrives into the Caribbean over the next 7 days. They bumped it up to a 50% chance for development this morning, and then knocked it back down to a 40% chance this afternoon. So here's the latest on it with Future Track. That's the wave that we're watching, that red blob out there in the Atlantic. Watch what happens as we get into the start of the upcoming week. Passes just to the south of the Greater Antilles. By Wednesday, this wave is in the middle of the Caribbean. Tries to consolidate, but the conditions are going to be pretty harsh through the Caribbean for this thing to develop, despite the fact that the water temperatures are very warm. There's a lot of wind shear in that part of the world. And as we keep this in motion, if the system stays weak, it will stay south and out of the Gulf altogether. This is a drastically different solution than what we showed you last night. So bottom line, with 8 days to go, there's still a lot of different possibilities that can happen. But for now, the models keep the system weak and to the south, but anything can change over the next week. 75 for the overnight. We'll do 90 tomorrow with scattered downpours and storms, especially for the afternoon and the evening. Coastal rain chances, then a 40% chance for your Labor Day. We go isolated for Tuesday, and then rain chances do start to pick up again Wednesday and Thursday as a weak front starts to get close to the area. And that could actually knock our humidity down just a smidge by the end of the week and next weekend. Still too early for the details on that, guys, but we are pretty confident that that front will help to get these rain chances that we've been dealing with now for the last week out of the area.
We'll take just a smidge. Right?
Absolutely. I love that improvement for Labor Day.
Yeah, thanks, Pat. Now to new developments on a story we first covered back in January involving a former Houston Methodist nurse.
25-year-old Alexis Joanne McNeely will serve time in jail and lose her Texas nursing license for life after reportedly stealing drugs and replacing them with salt water. That's according to the Harris County District Attorney's Office. Last December, McNeely was fired from the hospital after surveillance video showed she had stolen drugs at least 11 different times from April to May 2023. She also injected herself with painkillers, including fentanyl and hydromorphone, while on the job. That's according to court documents. McNeely pleaded guilty to 2 counts of diversion of controlled substance, and once she completes her 120-day jail sentence, she'll be put on probation for 4 years.
A warning now from the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. Scammers are now posing as deputies or officers with MCSO, and they're demanding for money over the phone or else an arrest will be made. The Sheriff's Office says scammers are even spoofing phone numbers to mimic their own and asking callers for unusual forms of payment like Bitcoin or gift cards. Authorities want to remind you to never give out personal information, and when in doubt, hang up and call the sheriff's office directly.
Taking a look at some of the other top stories we're following this evening. Tonight, music fans are remembering 53-year-old rapper Isaac Freeman III, known as Fatman Scoop.
On Friday, the artist collapsed on stage during a performance in Connecticut, then was rushed to the hospital and was later pronounced dead. A video from the concert showed Scoop hyping up the crowd at Hampton's Green and Gold Party just moments before the collapse. Now, after he collapsed, another performer on stage could be seen leading the crowd in prayer as a group of people huddled around the rear of the stage. Last night, Scoop's tour manager confirmed the rapper's death on social media. At this time, there's no word on what caused Scoop's collapse or death.
It's sad. I'd be lying if I didn't say I was broken up over it. It's tough.
Surreal. Still can't really wrap my head around it.
Hockey fans continue to grieve the loss of beloved NHL star Johnny Gaudreau. In Columbus, Ohio, Blue Jackets fans held a vigil outside the Nationwide Arena today to pay tribute to the fallen player. Fans called the man known as Johnny Hockey a role model who made people feel like they mattered. Officials say Gaudreau and his brother Matthew were killed by a suspected drunk driver while riding their bicycles in New Jersey on Thursday night.
And tonight, Rice University plans to honor Andrea Rodriguez Avila at their football game against Sam Houston. The team will have Andrea's name on their helmets to honor the junior who was shot to death in her apartment just before the first day of school. We have a statement from her family as well as the latest updates on KHOU.com. Now in Austin, a Texas lawmaker says he may introduce legislation next year that will push the start dates of schools later in the year.
Representative Jared Patterson says it's a common sense proposal that could put less strain on our power grid and save taxpayers money. But an energy expert told KHOU's Jessica Cha it might not make much of a difference.
In the middle of August, it's hot out there, and some think it's too hot for kids to go back to school then.
Everything from safety and football practice and band practice to playground equipment for the younger kids.
It's not just the kids that worry Representative Jared Patterson from District 106 in Denton County, but it's also the strain on the power grid too.
Does it really make common sense to be cooling the largest buildings in almost every single community in the state of Texas in the hottest month of the year?
Last week, as temps soared into the hundreds, Patterson says Texas hit a new peak demand for power ever. And he says Texas's growth isn't slowing down.
If we're not cooling down these huge buildings in the hottest month of the year, we're going to save some cash.
He says if schools push back their start dates to after Labor Day, it could save some money and help the grid too. And he's planning on making it a bill next year.
This is not a silver bullet to quote unquote fix the grid. This is just one component of common sense.
But energy expert Doug Lewin says it's not going to make much of a difference at all.
There's a lot of people that then would be in their homes, right? That instead of in the school, and then that home would be using more power.
He says growing population size isn't the only factor driving spikes in our energy demand. It's climate itself.
Climate change is happening. It is science. We will see particularly more extreme heat. No doubt about that at all.
Lewin says our grid system is built for climate that no longer exists, so it must change and adapt. He says starting school later doesn't make much sense, but maybe using solar does.
Conservation is shutting off the light, right? Just turning it off, closing a school, right? Efficiency is actually having it operate with the same level of output, but with far less energy.
Yeah.
I get the thought behind it, but I can hear parents out there watching. Yeah. Please, no, don't extend this over any longer.
I was going to ask you that since you're a parent.
No, send your kids to school earlier.
You want them out the house. Yeah.
No, I think they need to go back earlier, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Either way, you're investing something, right?
Yeah.
Time or energy.
Yep. Well, that's our time for now, but remember, we've got you covered anytime on KHOU.com.
We'll have much more for you coming up on TV tonight at 10. See you then.